Okay, so guitar recording. First I wanted to use my 6 string, but I can't because it's tuned to drop C, and this is a Floyd Rose tremolo, and if you know, Floyd Rose tremolo and retuning is a bit of a pain in the ass, so I can't use it. So stays only the option the 7th string and 8th string, and I choose the 7th string. So this is the old lady. It's an Ibanez RG7621, which is one of the first models of the 7 strings with the fixed bridge here, and it has some bruises, so it has quite some life history. And it has the stock pickups, which are some DiMarzios specially created for Ibanez. They are not too bad, but they are really bass heavy and also a bit muddy in the lower mids, so just to keep that in mind for mixing and so, and also for then searching for the tone. And so we'll use only the upper 6 strings, and it's now tuned in drop A, 7th string. So this is, yeah, and from here we go directly with the cable into the Sapphire Pro, channel 1. I've put it to line and to instrument and padded it because the pickups have a really high output, and then adjusted the gain so that even if we push it hard, it won't clip here. Yeah, normally I would use my beloved Line 6 Helix, but as we say, we use free plugins. We'll do it with direct input. That's it. Okay, back on the screen. First to the setup. So we go direct in with the guitar. So for the audio setup, I have set up jack for a buffer size of 256 samples, which is quite high. I would wish there would be a possibility for 64 or 128. But on my system I get X runs with lower settings, so I have to use 256 samples, which is then a latency of 5.8 milliseconds, which is already quite high. So it's like you stand in the distance of a guitar amp of about 5-6 meters or so. So I get a noticeable delay to playing, which is for high precision things not that good. So maybe I have to put in some research to if it's possible to go lower. But normally I use higher settings for normal recording. It puts a lot less demand on the CPU, only for direct recording. So if you have a direct recording of an instrument, you tend to go as low as possible so that you get the lowest possible latency. So that's this here. Then the second thing is I've turned the microphone and the guitar in the mixer off, so that I have no direct monitoring over the hardware, over the Sapphire Pro, and let Ardour do the monitoring so that we can use the guitar amp plugins. So this is in the preferences in the audio section. The record monitoring handled by, here is it selected audio hardware, and we now get it to Ardour. So then I have set up 5 guitar channels. That's what we need. The first one is only for recording. So I'll do my takes here on this track, and when they are finished and edited, then I just pull them down to the other tracks. And so we have the intro solo of the guitar, we have the rhythm guitars left and right. So we will do a double tracking, and then we have the guitar solo, obviously. Yeah. So that's it for the guitar tracks. The guitar track is only for the recording and will then be deleted. We don't need it then later. Yeah. So it's switched to in, so we can see here if I play something on the guitar. So we have a signal, and also in the mixer. So, next thing. So, how to select the guitar sound. Obviously, the first choice on Linux would be Guitarix or something like that. I have to say I haven't been able to get satisfiable tone out of Guitarix. I've heard recordings with some good tones, but I myself haven't managed to get one out of it, so I will use something different. And I will use the Le Pew plugins, which are quite famous in the metal recording world because they are absolutely free. They are absolutely fantastic sounding, but they are Windows plugins. You can download them for free, but we will need our good old friend Carla for this. So to set up the track, the plugins, I get our good girlfriend the Carla, this time the rack. So, and for the recording we don't need the full-fledged sound, but at least it should feel right for playing. So the better it feels for the guitarist recording, the easier it's to get good takes. So the first thing is we will add the TSE 808, which is also a free plugin. It's a modeling of the famous Ibanez Tube Screamer, and it looks like this. Yeah, so we don't need the stereo. The quality is high. We can put it for the, yeah, it's okay. So for the quality settings for the recording itself, it's better to put them to low, then you don't have that much CPU resources needed. And then for printing the tracks, you will put everything to high and select the tone. So now, first I bypass it. So this is the guitar, completely dry. So let's take it in. This is with the Tube Screamer. So, and as the guitar is a bit heavy here, it shapes the tone a bit. So here's the tone control, and I will put it up so that we get more highs and the muddiness goes a bit away. Then the drive is only very low, so if we would put it up, then you will get this overdriven distortion pedal tone, which we don't want here, just a little bit. And then put up the volume. As high as possible without clipping Carla here. So that's the first step. Then normally I add a noise gate, and I use the beloved Calf gate. Guitar amps, especially high gain amps and also plugins, tend to have quite a high noise output, so it pays off to have a gate in between there. Yeah. And I put it in front of the amp so it silences the amp. It's also possible to put it afterwards, but then you have to fiddle a bit more around. So we don't want to cut it. So set it up that the tone still has a chance to ring out. So something like this should be okay. And also the ratio is not too high, so it's not that obvious that we're using a gate here. But still now the gate is closed and then the amp will be silenced. So as a next step we add one of the Le Pews. And John Petrucci uses a Mesa Boogie Mark II-C Plus, and we don't have that here, but we have Electro, which is from the Le Pew plugins, which is a simulation of the Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier, so let's say it's close enough. So the thing now is, this now sounds really weird because we don't have a guitar cap. So we add another plugin, and the Lepu cap, Lepu plugins, there's also a cap simulator, so the simulation of the loudspeaker boxes for the guitar. And now we don't hear anything because we haven't selected an impulse response for the cabinet. So, and I will just quickly open, and I take this. I have quite some impulses downloaded, so with the Catharsis impulses, they are free, the guitar impulses are free, the chord tones are free, the experimental are also free, and I like experimental. I really like them. So you have different settings. This is from Angle, this is MSH, I think it's Marshall, and Mesa Boogie, and FRMS, I'm not quite sure, Framers, Friedman, something like that. And so let's just take one and see how it sounds now. So this already sounds more like a guitar. So you can also then, if you have selected the directory here, you can also step through and so I like to combine always two with a higher trebling stuff, and then also you can have your solo button, so we load another cap. Let's try the Marshall. Okay, it's even more, but that's okay. Let's turn it a bit down. So let's see both together. Okay, so we'll let it like this first. Let's check also the levels. Levels okay. So then let's dial in a tone with the electro. So this is a simulation of the tool rectifier, and in the default setting everything is at 12 o'clock. So first we have to change choose the setting orange or red. So the red is a bit more MIDI and more mid frequencies, and the orange is a bit more high, modern high gain. So then we have here, I let it on red for now. Then we have here vintage, we have raw, and we have modern. Yeah, I choose vintage here. The drive is how much gain the amplifier has, and this distinguishes how much distortion you have. So with nothing, you have obviously nothing, and it's more clean sound. So this is far too much. So. About here, and the thing is, as we are quite bass heavy, we turn lows, something like that. High mids, and the presence is difficult to explain. It works somewhere in the highs, but it's not an equalizer. It's working on the countercoupling inside the amplifier, so it's a bit different. So. Something like here. Master is the master volume, so how much the amplifier, the stage amplifier is driven. So let's see the output. Let's drive the power stage a bit more, but then turn the output down. So if you put it high, you also get a distortion in the stage, in the power amplifier, which has a bit of a different sound characteristic. And then we have the resonance. I'm not quite sure it's also a countercoupling thing, but I'm not quite sure. I think it works more in the lows, but there's not too much a difference, so I let it. I just let it here in this setting. Yeah, and then of course you can switch here to mono and stereo, so we'll just stay with mono. And here's the oversampling. You have 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, so the quality, the higher the better quality. So for the recording itself we just use 2 times. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for the recording tone. The next thing is, of course, if anything happens, save this. So export, go to the surrounded folder and save it here. So sometimes the interwork between Ardour and Carla is not that good. There can be crashes and so on. If that's the case, we can just open it here, reload it, and don't have to dial it in all the time. Okay, that's it for the tone. Okay, so let's first start with the intro solo. So we have here this part which is a little bit faster, and then we go directly. Here the solo starts and it goes, I think, until here. So we'll mark that range. Set the punch loop. Let's go to beats. So there's one note in advance, I think 1 or 2, and to let it ring out. Yeah, and the second thing is, what I always like to do is put a little delay on it, that it doesn't sound so dry. Just for the recording. And remember, these plugins are not recorded, so the input is directly recorded, so the dry guitar signal is recorded and not what we have here in the plugins. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, what's also good is if you turn on auto return, so that the marker or the playhead already jumps back to the beginning where you started. Yeah, and also I don't want to show you how much takes I mess up, so I will do just a take to show you the principle, and then I will switch the video off and just show you a few takes. I think it's boring if you watch me playing and getting the thing bad for the 100th time, so there are still some tricky parts inside the song, even if it's quite simple. So yeah, let's start with the intro solo. Yeah, as you see, it's not that easy. Still, it's a simple solo, but the 9/8 measure makes it a little bit difficult. Yeah, and also see we have here an X run. It's probably because of the screen recorder. Anyway, I will do some takes, and if I'm satisfied with one, I let it, and afterwards I'll show you how to edit guitar. Especially there's another tricky parts, and if you don't get the timing right, how you can correct it then. Yeah. Okay, so now we're finished with this, at least with the recording side. Pull this down, and now we don't have the plugins here, so it's easy to do this in the mix. I just take the color rack, pull it over, and also the delay. And if we're lucky now, I've put down the volume a bit. Yeah, and I've also now switched on the metronome, which the first thing I should have done earlier. But anyway, so written part. And the written part, the first part is here. I've already set the punch range, so don't need the delay here. So let's see. And I think there is too much noise. Yeah. Don't know if you could hear it, but there is from the 7th string there's too much noise, so I will have to mute it a little bit more. So I undo the capture and just continue until it's fine. So you've heard it. I will spare you with the whole takes. Okay, so I did some takes. We have now a recording and switched it off. So how do I record parts? There's some overlap, so normally I would record from the bar and then let's say they measure 4 bars, but I always let one beat less and more so that you have an overlap. This doesn't sound that nice here. So for example, here is the transition. But anyway, so later on editing, we just shifted to the right place, either with or without the grid, and then it's fine. So this is the next thing. So you have your different tasks. Then there are some which were quite hard to play. So which did, especially this small part here, is a little bit tricky to play, at least for me. And yeah, so we have it to the end. And now we'll start the editing. So let's start with this one. So we see the waveform. Let's zoom in a bit. So what's also important is that I've put for this faster editing shortcuts for grid and no grid. So Control G is grid and Control B is no grid. That I can switch quite quickly between them. So first, let's switch it off and just, because here it is finished and here starts the next. So let's do it. Let's make it first with the grid. And now the transition is a bit smoother, but not correct because here we are late with the timing. But this is anyway the first thing. Yeah, and of course, if you have layers and if you switch to stacked mode, then you see how Ardour orders the takes. Yeah, so if you cut out some part here, then this will play it here, and if you have this cut out this bar, then you get down and will play this lower region. Yeah, here we have more takes. Generally, if a take is a complete mess, I simply throw it away and don't bother with it anymore. So okay, so that's what we've seen here. So you see this is late. Now let's look at the timing. So for this we switch to 16th notes. So as you can see, some notes are off. So this note should start here, and this note should start here, and so on. So they are a bit late, and then there are some, this is a bit early. So especially in this part, the timing is a bit crucial. So let's see what we can do about it. So if we zoom in, then you have this guitar editing is something I learned from Joey Sturgis. So you have here in the beginning, you have here something. This is the small things here. This is the pick attack, and this is then when the string starts to vibrate. So and we want to have the string right on the on the exact location. So what we do here is first we place exact cuts. So we switch off the grid, Control B, and then first I put this here. Oops. And then with C I change to the cut tool, and then place cuts. So this one is exact. If you wonder, there's also this tool, rhythm ferret, but it can't do it exactly like if you would do it manually. So most of the time I do it manually. And also it's quite good to turn off the follow playhead, because otherwise you lose orientation. If you're working in high zoom levels and because of the playhead, then the edit window jumps around. This is not that good. So I will show you this. This one is on time. That's good. But we'll do a cut anyway, because this is not really exact. So okay, this is the next. So I just show you quickly, and then I will do it manually for the other parts. So okay, so we say this one is late, yeah. So we simply get into grab mode and switch the grid on, and then align that to the grid. That's the first thing. It's simple as it sounds. Okay. Started to run there. I'm playing. This one is exact. Yeah, okay. Let's go to here and then I'll do the rest later. So what we still have is, yeah. So now we've cut this, and I just want to, this top bottom layer here we don't need anyway, so I just remove that. And I also make it like this, and then switch back to overlay mode. So, and if we zoom in, so now we have a gap, which is not that pretty, but we have a tool in Ardour for this. And remember, so if you turn off the guitar sound, so this is the direct, this is the direct guitar sound. So what we do here, let's turn it on again, we use this tool, and it's the time stretch mode. So if you have an overlap here, like here, that's no problem, it's just place the part that's on top, so this one. But here we have a gap, and that's a bit of silence, yeah. So we take this part, pull it here, and in this case we can say crisp monophonic instrumental. This are the algorithms and minimum time distortion, and we have an exact match. Here's an overlap, that's no problem. Here's a small overlap. Here's a big gap. So small mistake. These are actually there's two notes, but they're hard to see. But oh, okay, now I think it's, here's the second note, but it's not obvious to see without the time stretch. Anyway, we let it with the time stretch. There's an overlap, that's okay. Longer. 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 Overlap. Overlap. Longer. Overlap. 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 Longer. Okay, this would be the next. So it looks like cut off. So, but now, if we play it now, the timing should be pretty exact. Whereas here it's start wibbly wobbly. So this is how you can edit this stuff. Yeah, and this is it takes some time. You can also do it if you have real recorded drums and not MIDI drums. You can do it is you turn on the group and you can do it on the drums too. This method is from Joey Sturgis. He did it in one of the Creative Live classes. And he used the slip edit mode of Cubase, which we don't have in Ardour, but we can do it as I have shown here. And yeah, it's quite amazing. So if you have small timing problems to correct, of course, at first you should learn how to play it as exactly as possible, but then you still have some fluctuations. And there are different styles of music. So if you have something where if you want to keep the liveliness and keep small errors, that's okay. But then there are styles where you want to have high precision. So if you need a high precision, Joey Sturgis is working in the metalcore scene, so there you have this really mathematical precision. So if you do it like this, you want to be as exact as possible. So it's a matter of taste also. Yeah, since we do a second track, it's good to have the first track as exact as possible and then play the second, and also normally you have not so much corrections in the second track. So yeah, that's in principle it. So I will go through the track and see there are not so many parts. This part is quite editing intensive, and there are later some parts, but for example this first part is in principle okay, that we don't need editing. Yeah, okay, then there's something I forgot. Although this is nice, you can do it a little bit better if you want to have a little bit of crossfades. So as you remember, you have here something like the pick attack and then the string vibrating. So I did this already here. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that smooth with Ardour. So the thing is, you can just select a group of cuts and then extend them, switch the grid to beats divided by 16, which should be 64 notes, and then just shift them left and then apply crossfade. Unfortunately, as you have seen, yeah, if I shift left, this doesn't work for all regions. I don't know why Ardour does this. It should be possible. So yeah, but if you want to be exact and perfect, yeah, then with this shift you get the pick attack, and if you then perform the crossfade, you get a smoother transition between the cuts. So let's listen to this. The thing is, now we have here crossfades where we don't need it because Ardour didn't shift it. So you would have to do this manually quite a lot, and what helps is a little bit the stacked mode, so that you see where are exactly the crossfades and how do they work. Yeah, so if you want to be perfect, you can add this too and do this as best as it is possible. And I hope that the other developers will look into this and yeah, see if this is why you can't shift this or change the pre-length. Yeah. So here I have an example of this. So you have here the fade out and the fade in, but you can't move this to the left, although it should be. Yeah. So what you can do is you can take the end. Yeah, it even doesn't work with the end properly. So don't know what's the problem here. Maybe something the other people should have a look at. No, now it works. Okay. And okay, I moved it. Yeah, I moved the whole region instead of just the ending. So yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes not, and it's a bit annoying. So here it works. So here I have crossfading, so we can do also the crossfade out. Yeah, I've already done it. It's okay. It's okay. And here it worked. I could not expand this, so it doesn't work. But I could expand this, so I put the crossfade here. Yeah. So now it sounds a little bit smoother. So let's listen. Yeah. Okay. So I will continue to do that on the whole track, and then let's see. Okay, so I'm through with editing this. It's been a little bit only here and here, and this is the tricky part I showed you before. So the next thing, or the last thing, is to consolidate this whole thing into one. So it's easier if we make it like this. Zoom out, select all, region, how was this? Set range from selection. Now we have the whole range, and then we go consolidate range. And stop. Then we have one complete consolidated guitar. Yeah. Here was it. This part here, it looks so innocent, but it's at least for my fingers, it's hard to play on the guitar, but it's okay. Yeah, then let's see. This is the solo part. The ending. Okay, so save it, and then we'll go to the next track. So the second rhythm guitar, and then the solo. And yeah, now you've seen how to edit, to record and edit. Yeah, let's skip to the ending. Yeah, one other thing I forgot. For example, for the solo. I disable the delay, and Of course, the free resources, it's good because color rack and the amplifiers and they cover they take quite a lot of CPU. So you see we are here on 61%, so it's quite heavy. So for playing that, we could change this the track's name to DI, then duplicate this track, create a new empty playlist, okay, and then select this and say bounce with processing. And it depends on which Ardour and Kala version you have. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. So I tried it. What will happen is that there will be the solo guitar, guitar intro solo too. So let's select bounce with processing. So with internal plugins here you can do that. Here's a new one. Yeah, now you see the color has crashed. So didn't work. We could try to pull this on the track. And let's see if it so it worked, but color crashed. So and most of the time this means you have to completely delete it and sometimes restart Ardour. So this is the shortcut is bounce with processing. You can do this with internal plugins. I don't know, don't think it works with external synths like we have done with Yoshimi and the Linux sampler. So the workaround is just to print this track like I have shown with the synthesizers. Yeah. But now we have this, so we can disable that, and then hopefully the DSP will go down, or we can even delete it. So this is the DI track. Let's rename this. This is then this track with the plugins applied, and in principle we can. Okay, I disabled the wrong color. I see. No. Okay, and probably I should have put the slider up. So, but it's a 2-bit floating point, so it should be okay like this. So yeah, so we don't need the color rack. The vintage delay will add it here. We need that later in. So if I disabled it, so you see the DSP goes down. So yeah, so just a quick thing to apply that the processing, and it frees then CPU resources for further recordings. Okay, so now I will record the second track. Okay, so after sleeping a night over it, the mystery cleared up a bit. So for the editing, as you remember, I had these issues when we cut some parts and regions and then couldn't change the beginning or the end. Of course, these were the time stretched regions, because then Ardour creates a complete new region, and fortunately this is a quite easy workaround. So I show you again how I can do this with the better crossfades. So I have here recorded this part once again in isolation, and we're on 16th notes, and you see we are here slightly off. So this is another thing to how to edit this. First we make the cuts, and if you switch the grid off and if you hold then the mouse, you have a guideline for the cut. So this is quite nice. So click and drag until you're here. So this, for example, is quite exact. Okay, just say it's enough for demonstrating that. So that's the first thing. Then, second, I switch on the grid, go into grab mode, and simply align them to where they belong. Okay, and then remove the overlaps here. So this one we probably won't need. So there is a gap, that's okay. And to remove the overlap, click on it, click on where you want to have it and press K. Yep, okay. Which trims the end of the region. Okay. Yep. Then we zoom out a bit, select all what we have cut, switch here to the resolution, so bits divided by 32, it's 128 nodes. Yeah. Go in, and then select the beginning, top. And for this amount, so here you see the pick attack. Then we have every node a little bit of the pick attack, just then good for the crossfades. So then we zoom in, and here's the overlap, but it's not complete, but yeah. So we can do time stretch for this small thing, or just let it, because it's anyway it will be a crossfade. So here it's okay, it's okay. Here we have a gap, so time stretch to select it, close the gap, it's okay, small gap, it's okay. Let's make this a bit okay, that's okay, okay. Yep, something like that. And if you now switch to stacked mode, we see that it's correctly aligned most of the time. So just zoom in, and now we can do the crossfades. So this was not the exact overlap, but it's okay for here. And in Cubase it's a little bit more comfortable to do this, but yeah, we definitely can do it in Ardour. In principle you could also select all and pull the crossfade in. Just want to check them manually for these things here. So, and if we now listen to it, you will hear that here the timing is exact, and here it starts to get again wibbly wobbly. Just turn the other guitars off. Yeah, you hear it is. The timing is here off. So then let's go back to overlaid mode. Select all these we have now created. Go to ranges, set range selection, so we have a range. And then important, before turn the color rec off. Otherwise most of the time it crashes. Say consolidate range. And then we have a complete range. So turn color rec on. And so that's it for the editing. So just to show this, don't need that anymore, I can remove that. And I've already printed the tracks. So we have the intro solo, we have the 2 guitar tracks and the guitar solo. And the only thing for printing which I changed is, as I said before, I put this then to high. And in the Electro the quality from 2 oversampling to 8. But then the DSP load goes up considerably, so you can only print 1 track, and otherwise you'll get stutters and so on, and X runs. So, yeah, and the other thing is, this is now the solo channel for the solo, for the 2 solos, the intro solo and the main solo. I changed a bit the tone, so I put a little bit up the low, pulled down the mid, and the highs were here, pulled them also a little bit down. It's a little bit different tone than the rhythm guitars. And of course then exported it from Color. So this is then how the 2 rhythm guitars sound together. If I unmute them, of course. Delays, we'll have to work this on the mixing. Yeah, and I've also kept the DI tracks, so this is then the raw guitar and this is the printed guitars, and they are also deactivated so that they don't eat any CPU. And yeah, did I forget something? I think that's all for the guitar recording. So next is vocal recording.